Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Happy New Year and thank you so much for joining me today for my 2021 bullet journal setup in my pocket-sized notebook. Before I get into the setup itself, I just want to talk briefly about how I go about deciding what to put in a new bullet journal. The first thing I like to do is go through my previous bullet journals. This is 2020's stack. So I used a couple of pocket notebooks to start the year, some standard inserts for my standard summer, and I ended the year in a pocket-sized notebook. I did also have this insert from Printable Moth that I printed. This just had the months of 2020, and I would record birthdays, my cycle, appointments, and anything like that. So when I'm going through these, I'm looking at the collections that I included in the front of my systems, you know, how often I referred to them. And I'm also going through and seeing what notes came up frequently, if I was writing, you know, video notes or if I had a lot of wish list spreads or anything. I like to make note of that and see what I think I would really use in the coming year. I also try to be honest with myself and note the spreads that, you know, maybe I enjoyed making, but I never actually flipped to. So I knew I didn't need to include those again. This here is a Hobonichi A6 plain notebook cut down to pocket size at my local Staples. I am going to be including this sticker from EurekartStudio on the front. I really love stickers that don't have the white border around them. I think this is really nice the way that it will look on this yellow notebook. I have a friend who's making me a bullet journal label with her label maker, so I'm just waiting until that gets here so I can make sure they're centered together before I stick them down. This is a pretty minimal setup. I am going to keep another insert for my future log, so I will show that once I'm done flipping through this guy. I just went with things that I know I'll use and I'd like to refer to, and anything else I just plan on embedding throughout the bullet journal itself. I don't usually slip this front cover into any folio pockets, so I did add a little decor. This is another sticker from EurekartStudio, a little bit of washi tape from Note and Wish, and these gold stickers are from a Suatelier sticker set. I did stamp a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer that says, "See the light in others and treat them as if that is all you see." That really, really resonated and reflected my word for 2021, which I will get to, so I'm really happy with how this spread turned out. I used stamps for the quote, obviously, as well as my headers in this bullet journal, and I used the VersaMagic chalk ink in the Midnight Black, and this alphabet stamp set, which I got off of Amazon and I will link below. This is my favorite stamp set. It has the lowercase, the uppercase, the numbers and symbols, and I just love how it looks. I love that it's imperfect. I love that I can never line it up straight and sometimes get these little marks. I'm not a great stamper. Maybe that doesn't happen with everyone, but I just really enjoy it. And I decided to do my headers like that because when I was flipping through my standard inserts, that's where I had done them for the first time, and I just really liked how that turned out. So I do go through and number the pages myself. So I glue the first page down because I don't like how it only opens partway. And I started here, so that gave me 1 to 238. So I guess technically with the front and back of this one, it would be 240 pages. Here I have my contact email in case I ever misplace this. I also included some stickers from the Happy Planner Homebody sticker book, which is my favorite. I love to keep an index, although I always leave too many pages for it. This time I left 3, and I do like to draw a line down the middle just so that the numbers line up here. It's just much easier for me to read and look through. I knew that I wanted to use a neutral color for my headers, and I thought that I would use my trusty N79, which is my favorite warm gray. But it turns out you cannot even see this on the Tomoe River paper. So I went to the Warm Gray 2, which is N79, and that looks really, really nice as well. So this is the gray that I've used throughout this setup. Because I am keeping a separate future log, I don't need a full future log spread in here, but I did want to try to give myself a space just to jot things down in case I don't have my insert with me. In the past, I've just done it right on the pages, but I thought I would do a spread. So this is an insert from Peanuts Planner Co. That is just the 2021 yearly overview. I printed that onto Moe River paper so that it was as thin as possible in the pocket size. And this is a spread inspired by Kaitlin Grey, formerly Bandit and Cass, and it is an Alistair style future log. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and written the first initial for every month of the year along the top, and I've just drawn my lines. And the idea is if anything comes up, I can just quickly jot it down in here. So this is just an example in pencil that I can erase. But for example, if I know there's a Zoom baby shower on May 15th, then I can just write baby shower, put in the dot for May, and write the actual number there. I'm not sure how well the camera picks it up. Oh, it's not too bad. But I did use a Tombow to highlight every alternate line here, as well as this line here, which is where I'll write the actual date. And I used the Tombow N79 for that. It's a lovely soft warm color as well. So the idea is before I set up every month, I will just make sure that I can, when it's May, run my finger down here, see what dots I have, and make sure to migrate those. I will also put these in my future log insert, so it might be redundant, but I don't think so. I like the way that this looks and how simple and functional it is, so we'll see in a few months how I'm feeling about it. And then we move on to my grid spacing page and my shortcuts. The shortcuts are just where I like to write down, the number of Tombow that I'm using, or if I was, hand lettering these, I'd write down which pen I used for that. It's just easier for me because I tend to forget and then, I'm swatching to try and find a match. For my grid spacing page, I did it a little bit differently this time. There are 36 spaces in total, but because I always do a title or header, I started my actual spacing or dividing of the page from where I would start writing. So, for me, I only use 34 boxes of writable space. And yeah, it's pretty simple. So technically 36 down and 22 across. I've done quarters, and I've also done some markings here, which are for my weekly spreads. And this is probably my favorite spread for the setup. This is my 2021 word of the year and my 2021 goals. I work through the PowerSheets, and that's where this comes out of. It's funny because I went into the PowerSheets 95% sure that I knew which word I wanted to choose for 2021, and it turned out something else spoke louder. I was listening to a podcast on self-compassion, and it didn't even jump out at me, but it's like it slowly filled me up, and towards the end of it, I was thinking, yes, that is my word for the year. That is what I want to practice, both self-compassion, so compassion inwards, and compassion outwards. That's why I chose this quote. It by no means that I'm going to ignore or excuse terrible behavior. It means to me that I want to be gentler and kinder in my own judgments of other people and of myself, and to practice kindness and compassion wherever I can. The actual page itself, I think, came together so beautifully, and I used things that I've had for ages, so I apologize because I'm not sure anything is available anymore except for this washi tape. So this washi tape here is from Note and Wish, and I just folded it on both sides of the page here so that it was a little bit easier to come back to. This here is a washi flake sticker This is by Ali Brown, and it came in the creator box that James Luke Burke put together in, was it 2019? And it got here in the beginning of 2020. I'm not sure of the exact years, but it came in this set here. And, you know, true to form, I've been saving them, but I just thought this was beautiful and the perfect space to use these. The letter and number stickers came from a very old scrapbooking set I have. I don't know if there's even a brand. Generations alphabet stickers. So I have them in gold and silver. I will take a look and see if I can find a link below, but they're transparent, which was lovely. So I've used those for the word of the year and also for my 2021 goals. So I have 7 goals that I'm working on this year, and these are the big picture goals. So I want to nurture my relationship and be open and intentional, treat my body kindly and responsibly, prioritize mental health, become more proactive with finances, contribute meaningfully, grow on social media, and try new things. I love this spread. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I know that I will definitely be referring back to this. Here I have my before I buy checklist of questions that I like to ask myself. I put a quote at the top. I just kind of, colored in the background with the Tombow N79, and I used my Le Pen technical drawing pen in the 0.05 to just hand letter that. So it reads, "Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most," by Augusta F. Cantra. And then I used some of these transparent squares from Caffeine and Paper Co. for my 5 questions. Did I plan this purchase? Is this a company I want to support? Does it suit my needs at this moment? Would I rather put this money towards something else? And can it wait? I'll be honest, I haven't been great about referring back to these, so I do think I'm going to put them on my desk somewhere as well where they're in eyesight. But I did decide that I want to try and keep my wish list page with this, so at the very least when I'm jotting things down that I'd like to buy, I kind of have to acknowledge these questions. And that is the end of the setup in here. Then it goes into my monthly setup, which I will do a separate video on. So like I said, this is very minimal. I've got my index, my yearly overview and my future log, my grid spacing and my shortcuts, my 2021 word of the year and my goals, and my before I buy questions and my wish list. In the back, I haven't started yet, but I will use these back few pages for pen tests as usual. And in the past I've done my grid spacing page at the back, but I do think that it's going to be easier to flip to at the front and have on the left side here. So that is why I bumped it up to the front of the notebook. So like I mentioned, along with this, I did order a field notes or pocket size insert from GoodINKPressions to use as my future log. I actually sent a message on Etsy to see if I could get a custom order, because this comes with the months at the front and you can add the blank or dotted pages at the back. And I asked for extra pages because I want to use this as a future log / reference notebook. As it turned out, it was thicker than I thought it would be, and when I actually planned out what I needed in here, I did not need so many extra pages. So all I've done is I pulled up the staples and I took out a stack here. And I mean, if I need to, I can add some back in. I don't think that I will. And now I have some 68 GSM Tomoe river paper that I can use. But into the future log itself. So she has a yearly overview for 2020 and 2021. I'm going to just stick maybe a Post-it or glue a paper down here with my emergency information. I thought about putting it here, but I realized I might slip this into any like front pockets of the folios, so they're kind of back to back. And it would be more useful and visible right here. Then it came with these undated monthly pages, so I just went through and I, put the month and the dates and the year. I just used my uni Jetstream for this in the 0.5. And the way that I decided to do it was I used a gray highlighter here. I actually used the Mildliner instead of the Tombow because the chisel tip just helps me keep it straighter. I did a gray highlighter for a statutory holiday. I used a turquoise pen for any birthdays or anniversaries. This is a zebra Sarasa clip in the 0.5. And I also used these Avery transparent dots for any holidays. So these are for any holidays, statutory or otherwise, but statutory holidays are also marked in gray. So for example, Valentine's Day, not statutory, Family Day, statutory. I like this setup a lot. I like that she has it set up so no days have to share space. It was a little bit difficult to write in these numbers, especially in the first few months, but it was still manageable. There's spots for notes at the side and a blank space here. So again, I'll track birthdays, holidays, I'll track my cycle in here, put in any appointments, really anything that needs to go in advance. And then we come to the notes pages at the back. So I left this one blank. I have some vague idea that I could do an index, or if I need to put in any of my other pages, I don't know. It's just blank for now. And here I have contact info. This is the same gray Mildliner, and I used the 0.5 Le Pen technical drawing pen. So this will be filled in with things like my doctor, cab number, anything that, should I misplace my phone or if it dies or anything like that, numbers that I need to have. I've left a spread for my morning and my evening routines, so I'm still working on those. That's why they're not filled in yet. I'm thinking I might actually write it on a Post-it and then put it in here because I expect these routines will change throughout the year as my needs change, so that's probably what I'll do. And then I have the morning routine notes that come from Good Morning, Good Life by Amy Landino. So she has a Shine Master list with ideas for movement, mindfulness, and mastery. I just like having those here for reference. I've just used the Tombow N79 to kind of highlight the titles. And I also put Decide Your Why here. There are notes under here that came straight from my PowerSheets. Basically, the reasons that I want to continue working on myself and keep growing. I find it helpful to have my why included. Here, I just wrote down my video stages. In the last bullet journal of 2020, I did a whole chart checklist for that, and it turns out I don't keep up with that. So I did want to actually write down my stages here just so that I had them. And I stuck in one of these Post-it tabs because if I want to, I could use it like a mini Kanban board and just, write what video I'm on and move it down the list. I don't think that I'll do that, but I like the stages and having that option. Here, video ideas. Ooh, and this one is a detailed packing list. I am not going anywhere, obviously, in the near future, but Paul's family does live a little bit of ways, so we just, when we would drive up to see them, I would make a list for packing every time, so it's nice to have it here. Usually when I pack, I do also include lists for like specific clothing pieces I want to bring, and obviously I couldn't do that in a generic master packing list. So I just wrote like daily outfits or evening outfits, and I figure I can put one of these Post-its here for when I'm actually going somewhere and list out the specifics and then peel it out for the next time. Under here, I just have some medication and personal items. So we've got clothes, toiletries, other, and then tech, like all the chargers and stuff I don't want to forget, miscellaneous, and stationery, which I think will probably also need a post-it note or two. And that's all that I have there. If you'll remember, I do also have like a long-term collections set up, which is, you know, books I want to buy and read, or movies I want to watch and things like that. So none of that is in here. This is just kind of on the go information that I might need to reference throughout this year. And I do think I will likely get rid of the future log at the end of the year. I mean, I'll move over like the packing list and anything that I need to, but for the most part, these are all things that, you know, I think would need to be refreshed anyways going into a new year. So I'm okay disposing of this and, you know, definitely keeping the bullet journal itself. So that is my setup for volume 1 of my 2021 bullet journals. I'd love to hear what your must-have spreads or inserts are when you're setting up a new system, so please feel free to share in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best in the year to come. I'll see you next time.